Hello and welcome to my second video. This video will be about gravity, as the last one was. And the question I will address today is if gravity is an attractive or an repelling force. Today, most people believe gravity is an attractive force, and it makes sense actually. Why? It makes sense that it will be attractive since everything seems to work that way. Like everything falls down on Earth, so probably Earth is pulling everything down. Earth is traveling around the sun, probably because the sun is pulling Earth towards the sun. But maybe it's not that. Maybe space-time, like the universe, is pushing everything down. Like you stay on the surface of Earth since space is pushing you down, and the Earth stays in its orbit since space outside the solar system pushing Earth around the sun. Yeah, it seems a little bit strange, like why changing that way? But the reason why I think we need to consider that gravity is actually a repelling force is the existence of black hole. Think of a black hole like this. Here we have a black hole. Here, outside the black hole, we have an object. Okay, so if gravity is an attractive force, then the black hole will attract us. Today, we know that black hole cannot be a mathematical ID. We know that black holes do exist, both from observation with gravitational waves and old observation with electromagnetical, normal observations. We know that black holes exist, and we know that black holes impact things in their environment, gravitational. So this will orbit the black hole or fall into it, depending on. But assume this has such a motion that it will orbit the black hole. Then something needs to inform this object. Some kind of information has to travel from the black hole to this object, so it will know that it has to orbit the black hole. That's like an ID. That's a fundamental idea about how gravity, how all forces work. Like magnetism. Magnetism has a photon communicating with the object, so the object knows that it should be having a magnetic attraction or repulse thing. So something needs to inform. One theory is a graviton. Maybe it could be something else. It doesn't matter. Some piece of information needs to leave the black hole and inform the objects orbiting the black hole that there is a black hole and it should be orbiting it. But the problem here comes from that this graviton or whatever it is can't leave the black hole. If it's inside, the information cannot leave. Basically because the definition of a black hole is that nothing traveling in the speed of light or slower can never leave the black hole. And since gravity moves in the speed of light, we know that for certain since the observation of gravitational wave. Since the two detectors observed the gravitational wave at different time, we know that the speed of gravity is not infinite. Therefore, it is limited probably by the natural constant, the natural maximum speed of anything, which is the speed of light. So the graviton or the information carrier, whatever it is, cannot leave the black hole. So no pieces of information can leave the black hole. That is also like a known fact about black hole. Information cannot leave black holes. So this reside outside can never know about the black hole. This will never come out. So how could it know the existence of the black hole? The answer is it cannot, according to today's theory, that the thing with a mass send out something, some kind of information, some graviton or something else, and attract other objects to come closer? It can't. So this will, depending on, so it will move. It could reside just next to the black hole. It wouldn't notice. It wouldn't get affected. And we know that this is not true since things orbit black hole. So we know that this object will know about the black hole. Therefore, we know that something is wrong with today's theory. And that's why I have an ID. My idea is that something outside the black hole is pushing it down. And the only thing I could find, which is evenly spread amongst the universe, is space-time. And since gravity is actually, according to general relativity at least, is space-time bent, so it makes sense that space-time is actually causing gravity. So what really happens, like if we have two objects here, according to today's theory, an object in free space will stay at the same position since there is no force. I say there is a constant force on it. A force acting from the space-times around it, trying to push it away. But since it's equally much space-time over here, and over here, and over here, and over here, this will have the same amount of force pushing it away, and the net force will then be zero. Very simple physics, actually. So the thing will be in rest. But let's assume we can have a black hole like this. Thinking like the first example, the old theory, the black hole is pushing it down through pulling it with gravity, which we know it couldn't work. But according to my idea here, what happens when you put a black hole next to it? This disappears because no information is leaving. So the net force would be like this. Black arrow here, pushing the object down. So that's my idea, pretty much. Space-time is pushing everything away, and if some massive object is blocking out some of the push from the space-time, you will get a net force towards that direction. That is what we call gravity. So gravity is actually the lack of a repelling force, which makes it appear as an attractive force, but it's not. Thank you for watching. I will hopefully come up with a new video about gravity soon.